Each year, the Africa CEO Forum brings together more than 2,000 CEOs, investors, heads of state, and ministers to debate the continent's most pressing priorities and set its business agenda. In Abidjan, the 2025 Africa CEO Forum brought together public and private sector decision makers for 2 days of high-level debates, negotiations, discussions, and workshops. Under the theme, can a new deal between state and private sector deliver the continent a winning hand? The forum focused on optimizing public-private collaboration to advance sustainable development. Now, to discuss more, we're joined by Neville Matjie, CEO of Brand South Africa. He joins us from Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening to you and the viewers.
Good evening. So tell us, what are your key takeaways from the just-ended CEO Forum in Abidjan?
Yeah, an absolutely successful event with over 7,000 civic CEOs, government officials, and high-ranking officials. The session really created a great opportunity for networking. Number two, it created a great opportunity for showcasing the best of Africa. We had the Secretary General of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Honorable Wamkele Mene, here also, who really drove the message around the AfCFTA and how Africa needs to do business with itself before we look outside the shores of the continent. We had the South African delegation here, which also comprised businesses from the financial sector that are specifically exploring opportunities of enhancing the relations within Africa in terms of funding business opportunities and increasing trade within the continent. We also specifically looked at potential investors who are looking at investing not only in South Africa but in other regions of the continent, because we had some of our DFIs who are looking at regional investment opportunities, cross-border investments, and that created a great opportunity.
Okay. Now, could you give us insights into the discussions during the South Africa high-level panel?
Yeah, so during the South Africa high-level panel, we had our Minister of Energy and Electricity deliver the keynote speech, which specifically focused on how South Africa has emerged from the energy challenges that it had a few years ago. That is now almost a thing of the past in terms of the plans that South Africa has put in place, highlighting also other sectors such as our manufacturing sectors, within the manufacturing, automotive, the pharmaceuticals, the chemical sector, clothing, textiles, leather, and footwear, as well as opportunities within those sectors. We also had an opportunity to showcase South Africa's preparedness for the G20 and partnering the team that is specifically focusing on B20, which is the business component of G20. In terms of their preparation and the type of lobbying that is actually going to be taking place in terms of changing of policy and how they're focusing, particularly in terms of the energy, the ICT, as well as the trade and investment component of it to realize greater benefit, not only for South Africa, but for the African continent.
All right. Now, based on your observations, what is the overall perception, of South Africa's economic prospects, and that's among other African business leaders and international partners at the forum? Because you did talk about how the forum addressed the current economic challenges and also opportunities for African businesses.
So one of the critical things, in fact, at yesterday's platform was highlighting which countries' growth is actually quite high within the continent. And it's quite commendable to see quite a huge uptake in terms of economic growth within the continent by other countries. Of course, South Africa's economy has been a bit sluggish ever since the COVID pandemic, but we are seeing a huge recovery. Our forecast for this financial year is a growth of up to about 2%, albeit at the moment we're sitting at 0.5%. So that forecast already we are seeing some growth shots in terms of how our economy is actually turning around. One thing that is quite important for us, that is quite clear in terms of investor confidence, is that a lot of our investors are quite clear. The latest investor confidence index that has been done shows a huge improvement because of the government of national unity within the country, where South Africa's democracy has continued to mature.
Okay. All right. Well, I would love to thank you, Neville, for your time and for speaking on this.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.